Hey everyone, Shaedow here, and welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So we're going to be going through Act 5.4.3, and you can see the team that I went in with. The team should be familiar to you if you watched the first two videos on Act 5.4. Same team, and I got this one in before Alliance Quest started. Alright, so on the path that I chose here, we're going to have to deal with Bane. And if you're not familiar with Bane, there are plenty of videos that can go through Bane for you. This particular fight here against Red Hulk, he is immune to all debuff effects. So don't bother trying to bring anyone in who relies on debuffs. But Angela does not rely on any debuffs. Alright, so as you can see, we're having to fight him pretty much stun immune style, so we're trying to bait out his heavies, bait out the special one like you see there, and push him to his special one as often as possible, and wash, rinse, and repeat. The Bane does not count as a debuff, so he is not immune to that debuff there. So as much as possible, you want to make sure that Bane stays on him. This is true when you're fighting any opponent where Bane is in effect. But Angela, as you can see, is just tearing up this Red Hulk. Now, this is actually my second attempt at this Red Hulk. I went in first with Blade and did not do so well, and decided to reset it and come back in with Angela, and she kicked butt. Angela is a beast, and I'm so happy that I got her as a 6-star. I also have her as a 5-star, and I may rank her up even as a 5-star. Alright, so this next fight is Magic, and you can see there is no Bane to deal with. And of course I brought in Blade because he just rips Magic up. I remember when Magic was a nightmare. You just basically prepared to take a lot of damage that you could not avoid and possibly lose a champion, especially if you were not at full health. And of course she was the favorite in Alliance War. Everyone that could ranked their Magic up and put them in Alliance War on defense. But as you can see, she's no match for Blade. Blade was a very welcome counter to Magic, and he makes that fight trivial. Now, the next fight that we're going to encounter is Yellowjacket. Now, I have to fight Yellowjacket anytime I go to the left on map 5 in Alliance Quest, unless one of my Alliance mates gets to him first. And I always choose to fight him with Stark Spidey if possible. It just makes it so much easier. I remember before they changed him, his L1 was very easy to evade, but I don't remember what patch it was, but they changed that L1, and now in order to evade it consistently, you really want to keep your distance. If you're close up to him and he fires that L1 off, I have evaded it by accident, so I know it's possible, but it is not easy. Now, if you have the timing down, of course, but I prefer to either use Stark Spidey, OG Daredevil if you don't have Stark Spidey, or when you push him to his L1, keep your distance, bait it out, and you'll be able to evade it much easier when you have some distance. Okay, so this next fight is against Doc Ock, and this is when the game decided I had been doing far too well and decided it was time to assassinate me. And I'm not going to even lie, I got so pissed. My phone was in serious danger. I had to put it down and just walk. I actually stopped fighting, stopped the recording, went back to look at the recording to see what happened. Alright, so it's coming up and I slowed it down. Okay, so watch this. I'm firing off my L2, right? He hasn't recovered yet. And look at that. Hyperion stops short on the first part of his L2. Doc Ock blocks. And of course, I can't recover and he attacks me. Now watch this. I'm blocking, right? Boom. He just hits me straight through my block. So at this point, I know the game is not going to let me do anything to save myself. Nothing is going to work, so I just get in as many licks as I possibly can, push him to his L3, and at this point, I am so tilted, I had to put the game down and just walk for a little bit. The game should not do that to me. It's supposed to be fun, but when things like that happen, it really pisses me off. So I brought in Angela to clean up, but I lost my Hyperion to that. That really, even now as I'm remembering it and going back over it, ticks me off. Alright, so now we're going in here against Star-Lord. I didn't even bother looking at the nodes, but I guessed pretty quickly that he had some sort of power gain because he was gaining power pretty quickly. But even with the power gain, he's pretty easy to fight. Alright, so all you want to do when you're fighting Star-Lord is to bait his specials out. And I have no problem evading either one of his specials. So this L2 right here, once I can bait it out, you see back, easy to evade. His L1, also easy. Just, you know, if you keep your distance or whatever, I can even evade it when I'm fairly close up to him. You just have to have pretty quick reflexes. But his L2, that works as well. The only dangerous thing there is if he decides not to throw it. Because if he hits you with that L3, chances are you're toast. Alright, you saw right there I was able to dodge that L1. And I really thought that was going to take him out, but I've noticed that a lot of times they survive at 1% health when they really shouldn't. It's like they have some sort of a shield, and they're not Corvus Glaive, but it's almost like they borrow some of his mechanics. And I've noticed that for a little while now. I mean, obviously if you do enough damage, you know, you take them out regardless, but too often they hover at that 1% mark a little bit longer than I think they should. Alright, so now we're going in against Black Widow. And the thing that I do not like about Black Widow is how difficult she is usually to parry. And of course she shuts down your ability accuracy. But Archangel can't be reduced. So he is the perfect counter to Black Widow. Her powers just do not work on him. So as you saw, very quick and easy fight. Next up, we have Ant-Man. I always try to fight Ant-Man with Archangel. Ant-Man is very easy to fight. It's a long fight, but he's very easy to fight. And his specials are very easy to evade, except when the game has decided to assassinate you. Look at this. So, apparently, I decided not to evade his L1, something that I have done I don't know how many times. No. What happened is I tried to evade and it simply dropped my input and left me there. Oh, and all of the stuttering and pauses that you're seeing, that's not special effects. That is what I had to deal with while I was fighting. That's exactly what it looked like on my end as well while I was playing. But we fought through it. I was very determined to get through this quest. But with all of these glitches and the lag and, you know, all of that, I can't say that it was a very enjoyable time, especially losing my Hyperion the way that I did. And down goes Ant-Man, Finally. Bane actually helps, because if you can keep the Bane on him, it'll make the fight go just that much faster. Now, this next fight, I need to warn you guys. Spider-Gwen is a very easy person to fight, okay? However, this Spider-Gwen, you're going to have to deal with Bane, and she has a permanent regen. That is why I chose to bring Archangel in here. And I healed him up because there's one nightmare for Spider-Gwen, especially on a Bane node. She fires off her L1. That is a nightmare, because Bane will get on you, because she's going to do it right when Bane is going to transfer on you, and then you're not going to be able to hit her, and she's going to wreck you. So that was my nightmare. So my plan is to try to push her to her L2 as quickly as possible, because I don't want her firing off that L1. That is a nightmare. Alright, so I'm trying to push her to her L2 right here. Just not enough. She fires off her L1. Now I'm in trouble. Okay, so I'm going to try to like parry her or something. Nothing works. I attacked her. She evaded. Now I've got the Bane on me, and Bane took me out. She evaded. I wasn't able to parry her. That was exactly the scenario I was trying to avoid by pushing her to her L2. So if you guys are going into that fight, just remember that. Alright, so now I'm fighting her pissed and with Starkey. Alright, so I probably should have waited and built up a few more poise, but because I have Blade, Starkey already starts out with 3 poise charges, so he's doing good damage anyway. Alright, so you can see I'm fighting her a little bit slower, and now I push her almost, but I can fire off his L2 to stun her and push her all the way to her L2. And sure enough, she fires that off just as the Bane transferred on me, but it wasn't her L1. And that is key. Okay, so watch this here. I'm just waiting for that Bane timer to get almost there. Stunner, go in, good Bane transfer, L1, finish her off. Nice, neat, simple. I do love my Stark Spider-Man. Well, at this point, my team is looking a little rough. I've lost my Archangel. I've lost my Hyperion. I am not in good shape at this point. Alright, so we're still having to deal with Bane. Now, anytime I've had to deal with Bane, I usually have to use some health potions. I really should not have lost my Hyperion, but it is what it is. As you can see there, I have to deal with Bane and Stupefy, which just makes all of the stuns last longer. The only thing you need to know about that is don't get hit. I know that sounds funny, but if you notice in these fights, I rarely get hit, and when I do get hit, I usually am getting wrecked pretty hard. Alright, so we're fighting Daredevil here. Very easy to fight. You just need to bait out his Special 1, Special 2 whenever you can. Both are very easy to evade. The only thing, of course, is Bane, but by this time, if you're fighting in Act 5.4, you should be familiar with Bane by this point. Alright, so there you saw me break the don't get hit rule, and look at how much damage that did. Just that quick. So, as much as possible, don't get hit. But she did survive. Alright, so now we're fighting Nightcrawler, who used to be a nightmare. But if you haven't seen it already, watch that. Boom. Switched him. I don't know if you guys are already familiar with that, but basically when he dashes back and he's blocking, when you see that timer up, throw a light attack, and as you saw what happened there, you can rewind it to see what I did. It'll switch him. He'll hold block and switch. And once that happened, he's very easy to take out. Folks still use him in Alliance War, but there's been a very small number of times that I've actually gotten wrecked by Nightcrawler since I've learned that trick. and that's only when the AI goes into hyper super aggressive mode. He doesn't go backwards, and all he does is attack and catches me off guard. But even without the switch trick, I was able to fight him. But I don't remember exactly which patch it was, but I remember after a patch, it was much more difficult to switch him because he would always evade out like at the very last minute when you were trying to hit into his block to keep him blocking so that you could switch him. Very, very annoying. So this particular way of switching him is very welcome, at least until they fix it. Alright, so now we're fighting Electro. And as you can see there, the game has not given up its attempts to assassinate. What you saw there is a bug. I hope they fix it. It's very annoying. If you watch throughout my videos, you'll see that it happens usually once or twice, and usually only one time in a particular fight. But it's always a heavy that locks me in place, and my evade just does not work. You know, so I see her doing a heavy, I'm evading, he's just standing there and he takes that heavy right to the face. But Starkey, he took his lumps, he survived, and took her down. So now we come to the final phase. This is the last platform here, and I decided to go straight into Hela. That means that this is the hardest that she is going to be. On either side up there, you'll see they are linked nodes to her. And basically they provide her specials with unblockables. Okay, so you can see there, she has enhanced special 1 and 2. That's what happens when you leave both of those two up. So I'll have an easier time when I'm coming back in to 100% it, because only one of her specials will be unblockable. But I don't have a problem evading Hela's specials. Normally, I should have recalled that the game was out to assassinate me and has already made several attempts and took out my Hyperion. So you notice that there was a little stutter in the beginning. Yes, I'm lagging. Alright, but I know Hela's movements, and so I'm like, okay, Blaze should be able to, you know, do some good work against her. Alright, so got the L1 off, and look at that. Gets hit by her special. I can't tell you when the last time that happened. Well, yeah, I can. It just did. Anyway, you can see here, I'm just trying to get some parries off. Now, there's another mechanic against Hela where every time she gains a Fury, she goes unstoppable. So I had to try to play around that, but I wasn't used to it. And you'll see that it actually got me wrecked. So you can see here, I'm just attacking her like I'm a madman and paid the price. She was unstoppable, and apparently I didn't care. But anyway, something I did want to make a mention of. Now, her specials are unblockable. However, and this is true of any special that has multiple parts to it, the first part is unblockable, but you can block the second part. And if there's a third part, you can block that too. You saw that when I was fighting with Blade. Alright? So now we're going in with Angela. And at this point, I'm like, I'm going to end up having to use a revive. I just know it. But let's just see how much damage I can do with Angela. In fact, I'm going to get out your way. I'm going to let you watch Angela go to work.
Made a mistake saying I cannot run this race. It's playtime, I'm gonna crush your face. This is not a phase. Hey guys, I know you feel that bass. Roll with that until you see my face. Rising from a thick layer of fog at midnight. There's a time and a place to kill it. I spill it, leak documents from a flaming tongue. Rappers acting so saintly when not long ago you were pagan, cuz. And now they catch the aroma. Wonder what the kid is baking up. Add a little secret ingredient they're needing is something for waking up. My flow is caffeine and I'm the black king of spades. Among smaller cards and that scream you hear is mad heat. I am the daddy of breaking the bones of the flashiest chic. No given. As I grow up in a robust prison, everything I think I need is already given. For some reason I am hardly living. Physical need to one can't be controlled. Give a kid candy, take away his soul. Can't tell the difference between hot and cold. My senses are dimmed and I'm sold.
So close. I don't care that Angela eventually succumbed to all that block damage. She put in some work worthy of a goddess. I love Angela. Definitely an awesome champion. I actually do use her in Alliance War as well as questing. Alright, so Hela just has a little bit left. Not too much. I healed up a little bit and took my Starkey in here just to take out that little bit of health she has. And of course, you know, she's gonna go indestructible. Starkey will stay away from her for a little bit, let that timer run out. All of that is lag that you see in there. Wait the timer out,
Fatality.
get that parry off, and it's lights out for Hela. And that is Act 5.4.3 done. So if you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you did, please consider smashing that like button. It really helps me out. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please consider giving me a subscription. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you want to help support the channel, look in my description and you will see a link to my Patreon account, and you can become a patron of this channel. And you guys have a blessed day.